Two major issues preoccupied the minds of Nigerians most of last week. The first was insecurity, while the second was the passage of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill, as well as the Petroleum Industry Bill by the National Assembly. But while both issues may be said to occupy opposite sides of the spectrum, they are actually mutually inclusive, as an insecure environment can pose a threat to oil and gas output and the conduct of hitch-free elections in the country. Now joining us from Kaduna to discuss what needs to be done to arrest rising insecurity in his home state is Honorable Yakubu Umar Barde, the lawmaker representing the Chikun-Kajaru Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives. He will also give us his perspective on why his colleagues on the platform of the People's Democratic Party staged a walkout last Friday during the House's consideration of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill and the Petroleum Industry Bill. Welcome to the show, Honorable Barde. Thank you for joining us. Good morning.
My pleasure always, and thank you.
Yes,
morning
thank
to
you
Nigerians.
Well, Honorable Barde, let's start with where you met us on the program. Before you joined us, we were talking about what happened over the Electoral Act Amendment Bill in the National Assembly last week. And, I had raised the question, is it possible that there are some puppeteers involved in this who are trying to hijack the process and dictating to lawmakers? Because it will appear to many Nigerians that is quite straightforward, that we should all be committed to the idea of deepening the integrity of the electoral process. But now the Senate, for example, is proposing that INEC will have to get clearance from the National Assembly, which is completely illegal and unconstitutional, because INEC is supposed to be an independent body. And at the same time, this concern about whether NCC can transmit results or not, and INEC saying it is possible. What do you make of it? And in your own case, how did you vote?
Anyway, let me first and foremost apologize to Nigerians, because as far as I'm concerned, if you talk about democracy, the process where leaders emerge is very, very important. And democracy believes that people's view or whatever people want should be sacrosanct. Now, why I said I apologize, because the manner on how we went about it was rancorous. That was not how parliamentarians should behave. So for me, I felt ashamed that I was part of this. That's as it me. For me, my vote was, we want credible election, regardless of what party you belong to. The most important thing is that let the view of the people supersede whatever interest anybody has. And that is democracy. Now, we want it to be transparent. The best thing we can give to Nigerians as lawmakers today is to make sure that the process is transparent and people's view is what will emerge at the end of the day. So I voted for electronic transmission of election result. And my reason for that was it will enable us get some level of trust from international community, from Nigerians, unlike before where somebody would just snatch the ballot box, run away with it, and they'll tell you, oh, sorry, that election in that particular ward or that polling unit will be cancelled. And unfortunately, I've always said it in different fora, we must love this country. The moment issues are taken into partisanship, ethnicity, religion, region, it's defeat the essence of our nationhood. So on the floor, you could imagine some people are canvassing that the North is not yet ready. We have to make the North ready. I mean, if INEC has told us that they can transmit this election electronically, why are you afraid of it? Is it something you are hiding? So it baffled me because I don't have an answer. But I wish I had an answer so that I can tell them that we have a remedy. But unfortunately, you never know the thoughts of people. But I want to tell Nigerians, on the floor of the house that day, some people were canvassing it to be a clause against the North. And it baffled me. I became kind of disillusioned because this is not the country I want, this is not the way I think we should behave. election transmission electronically has nothing to do with region. It has nothing to do with party. But if you look at what happened on the floor, it became partisan. Oh, it's APC against PDP. It's not shameful. Very shameful, as far as I'm concerned. So, for me, it was not a good one. But I believe there's still room to make amendment. And I pray that when the committee that will sit to harmonize this position of the Senate and the House of Rep will look into it with all sense of responsibility and let the views or the yearnings of Nigerians prevail. Because for me, in my area, I will tell you predominantly everybody. I won't say everybody, but I will say majority. And I can tell you authoritatively up to 80% of my voters, or 90, want election to be transmitted electronically. So if INEC can do it, why not? Now, with the clause that was passed, the way it was passed by the Senate, it's like giving INEC independence with the right hand and collecting it back with the left hands. How can you say INEC should now wait until NCC give them a mandate? NCC is not even recognized in our constitution. INEC is a recognized parastatal, or let me say institution in our constitution. So I don't know how we want to do it, going backward, going to an organization that is not recognized by the constitution to give INEC the go-ahead. Anyway, it's funny, but I think that was not good. That's just what I can say, because they are my senior colleagues.
Well, I think a lot of Nigerians agree with you, and those who have commended this so far have been the people who voted against it. But let me ask you, because your party members of your party staged a walkout from the House, from the plenary on Friday when this happened. Was that the best you could do?
Yes, I think we didn't want further escalation of the rancorous situation we find ourselves. Because I believe if members of the opposition parties had stayed, I wonder what it would have resulted to. But I think working out, we made our point clear that, and the minority leader, Elumelu, emphasized that we were against the autocratic nature of how the deputy speaker was going about it. All we wanted was give us a listening voice. The deputy speaker stood up, the minority leader stood up. He spoke that, look, we have not already approved or passed, as it is said in the parliamentary floor, that we have not yet passed this clause. So please, why don't we go back, look at it, and take a vote? If we were defeated, no problem, so be it. That is democracy. But if you become so autocratic about it, that's why there's a problem. Because the minority leader stated the undemocratic nature of how the deputy speaker was going about the passage, the consideration of the bill. So for me, it was the best way to avoid a situation where there will be exchange of blows. I think the best way was to go out and make your views known.
I mean, if you guys didn't have subtle jabs already on the first day, because I saw there was a lot of close contact, really rancorous atmosphere, and you wonder, violating every form of social distancing possible. But hey, it's the National Assembly. But let's talk about the Deputy Speaker, the autocratic nature. How did that make you feel? And secondly, why didn't the Speaker preside on one of the most important events in this legislative calendar? Because if you're to write about your time in the National Assembly, this is going to be the watershed event. Why didn't the Speaker prevail? Why didn't you guys call the Speaker to prevail on this and leave the Deputy Speaker to prevail, despite the fact that you knew he was skewed towards a certain direction? Why? What goes on in your National Assembly? What goes on there?
Yes, that's an important question. But you see, we have our House rules. And in the House of Representatives rules, when we are considering money bills, in the consideration of bills, it is the Deputy Speaker who presides, or let me say, who chairs. He's not presiding anyway. He chairs the consideration of all committee reports. So that as it may, unless we had called for a recession or for the suspension of our House rules, that would be the only way the Speaker will have presided over. So, but that as it may, it is assumed that the Deputy Speaker and the Speaker are one, and the Deputy Speaker is supposed to work by the tenets of the rules of the House. But unfortunately, I think we didn't get a fair deal on the way he was going about it. So that is it. And for how I feel, of course, I told you I feel bad, and I would say maybe we are anyway. I don't like to say we are learning, because you want to wonder how long do we have to learn, you know? And the Deputy Speaker is a parliamentarian. This is second term or third term, I think, second term in the House. So I think he knows. He knows. But unfortunately, maybe he allowed the sentiment of his decision, or where he was cued to override his emotions. I think that was just what happened.
Okay, let me ask you. I mean, PDP lawmakers staged a walkout, but the APC members who remained behind in the House still went ahead and passed the bill for a third reading their own way. What happens thereafter? Is it just simply a game of numbers? Yes, they have the majority, and as far as they are concerned, it really does not matter that PDP members stage a walkout. So what we have in the House of Representatives at the moment is a situation whereby, even if PDP members are not in the chambers doing any particular important thing, one party, the dominant party, can do as it wishes. And where does that leave us? Those who have been represented by members of other political parties, we've been denied a voice in the matter, not so.
Yes, if you stage a walkout, the best thing you could do after you're staging a walkout is to challenge what decision that was taken on the floor of the House. So that is a remedy for that. And that's why the opposition parties are saying we are going to challenge that the bill or the past, we are going to challenge it in court. Now, if you ask how do that leave Nigeria, the truth is in parliamentaries work, if you walk out, of course the majority will take decision, and the constitution guarantee a certain number of people that could pass different bills or laws that are brought to the floor of the House. For example, if you have to talk about the constitutional amendment, it does not talk about simple majority, I think. Yes. So such decision, depending on the kind of law or the bill we are passing, can be challenged in court. And unfortunately, I like to be very honest to myself, because if you know what happened on the floor of that House, there was this insinuation that Senator Tinubu voted no for electronic transmission. And what some people were saying, that is the voice of Jacob and the hands of Esau. Which means her husband, the elder statesman, Tinubu, Bola Tinubu, who is the leader of APC, is against electronic transmission of votes. So automatically, most of the people that were in the APC felt, oh, that is the voice of our elder. Because before we passed it, we had information already that the Senate has passed it, and Remi Tinubu voted no. So that alone had a lot of influence on the decision of some lawmakers, unfortunately. Because for me, I don't think I should work based on what a senator or somebody who is in my party has done. I work based on what I truly feel Nigerians want. And that was what happened. So it became partisan, unfortunately.
Well, you just made a very serious allegation on international television. You are accusing Asiwaju Bola Tinubu directly of being the puppeteer behind this. But even if Senator Remi Tinubu voted on the basis of her husband's beliefs, I guess she'll be protected under the doctrine of the unity of spouse, more or less. But how about the other lawmakers? Don't they have a mind of their own? Or is it that in politics, one influential person can just tell the whole of the National Assembly, go in this direction, and the people are representing all of us, over 200 million, will just, on the basis of what they think or suspect one man wants, the majority will just go in that direction. What kind of democracy would that be?
It's unfortunate, but let's not deceive ourselves. It happens. But what I want you to know is not all APC members that were on the floor on that house on that day that were supporting the nay or the non-transmission of voting result electronically. It's not all of them. There were a very tangible number who felt, no, we should do it electronically. So I'm not saying everybody, but some of them really wanted it to be transmitted electronically. Now, since it became like a party affair, somebody who was in APC will just say, oh, let me just sit down because this walkout is not a walking out by members of my party. But if you see what happened, predominantly those that walked out were members of the opposition party. Now, I said, you see, I said, unfortunately, the insinuation which I happened to be privy to was that some people said, yeah, we heard that Remi Tinubu voted no. And for that, it means that our leader in APC, who is Asiwaju, is also inclined to the non-transmission of a vote electronically. I'm telling you from the vineyard that I overheard people say that, and that's just the truth. Okay. I heard it.
Oh, those are your words. But let's turn our attention to insecurity. You are from Kajuru, and Kajuru has recorded some of the latest kidnappings in Kaduna State. The kidnap of the emir, the traditional ruler, the kidnap in the Bethel school is also in Kajuru. There seems to be a pattern. We see a pattern. Everyone else, unlike the politicians, is getting kidnapped. What is the mindset of you politicians to these kidnappings that are happening? When last were you in Kajuru? And what are your constituents telling you about this kidnap? Why is it on the increase? What's responsible?
Thank you. That's a very important question. I will speak for myself as a politician, and what I always tell my constituent is that the politicians have failed Nigerians. And for whatever reason, I think Nigerians should really find out why. And secondly, when you said, when was I in Kajuru last? When the emir was kidnapped, I was there. I went there. I visited his family before he was later released by his adopters. Yesterday, I was in 44 Hospital to see him because he's still admitted there. The Deputy Governor of Kaduna State and the Commissioner for Health of State were there to see him, including the Commissioner for Internal Security. Now, unfortunately, it's not everywhere I can visit in Kajuru local government today because there are areas that the bandits have taken over. And unfortunately, let me use this medium to also commiserate with those that have lost their loved ones. Yesterday, as I speak to you, some of the people that were kidnapped in Angwan Gimbia, in Sabontesha, 3 of them were killed, and their corpses were dumped in the forest, and the relations were asked to come and pick them because they couldn't raise the 20 million they were asking of. So it's a sad thing, and I feel very disappointed that politicians are really just paying lip service. And let me tell you what I think is the problem. If we cannot protect the lives and properties of Nigerians, what's the essence of governance? Whatever development you want to bring today, the moment the people don't feel secured and safe, I think it's all effort in futility. If you are building good railroads, good roads, who will follow the road if they are not secured? Who will even have investment up to the extent of having money to buy a car? Now, I prefer a solution one day. I said, of course, I'm for state policing. It's very important. Secondly, let me ask this rhetoric question. If you ask the military today, the complaint is that we are short of manpower. But gentlemen, Desua, Abati, and your third colleague there, do you see the number of soldiers and police that the VIPs in Nigeria moves with? even in their homes. Even in their homes. If we are short of manpower, why do maybe somebody who is in position, either a legislator or an aide to the governor, or maybe he's rich, what is he doing with like 20 police going about with him when the masses needs enough security, which they don't have, and yet we flaunt it on the faces of Nigerians that we are big men. We go about with siren, and we want Nigerians to like us, and we want Nigerians to feel happy, except we are not ready to tell the truth. If we lack manpower, we draw some of these too much aids, too much security personnel following the VIPs in Nigeria, including myself here. I will say it here before the TV. I don't move with any security. I don't go about with any policeman at all. But I know of people who have a truck or two, policemen in front and at their back. So their own security is more important than that of the masses. I'm not speaking to feel, for anybody to feel bad. But I think we need to withdraw. I want to see Mr. President say, okay, yes, we are short of personnel. Make an order. The IGP, the Chief of Army Staff, the Chief of Air Staff, and the Chief of Naval Staff, withdraw all your men and let them go to the battlefield where they will help to secure the lives of Nigeria. That's one aspect. Secondly, of course, you can recruit more soldiers. But meanwhile, there are those that have been recruited, they are well trained. What are they doing in town? Following VIPs. Is the lives of the VIP more important than that of the masses, the men in the villages, the men and women in the villages? For me, it's sad, and I don't know. I think Mr. President needs to be more up and doing. But for me, security-wise, I'm not impressed with the performance at all.
Okay.
At all.
Okay, Honorable Barde, the truth is, a lot of Nigerians are tired of going to pay condolence visits to people that are killed by bandits. What are you and the likes of Senator Sani doing in the state? What are you people doing? What have you put forward? What have you done?
Anyway, let me say personally what I've been doing. Of course, I pay condolences. I help them with food, with clothing, those that I can, because the number is too much. I can't help everybody. And let me be honest with you. Maybe they use the money for ransom payment or not. I used to help them with cash. And of course, if you still have your relative or your friend or your brother who is kidnapped, and I give you money for feeding or taking care of the remaining family, if you use it to pay ransom, I wouldn't know, but I think that is what may be happening. Now, as far, this is individual, on the individual level. And of course, I've talked to our people. I think Chikun local government is where you hardly find any reprisal. I have given them hope to believe in government, that government is the final arbiter, because we can't all take up arms. We don't want to have a chaotic country or a country in crisis. If everybody takes up arms, it's not going to take us anywhere. Rather, it will retard our development, because a lot of investment will be withdrawn from the country. Now, as a government, if you ask what we are doing, like I said, I'm always talking to my governor, because I believe security issues are very, very germane, that we need to join hands. But unfortunately, I will say it today, most of politicians will just want to play politics with the issue of insecurity. I find it
what do you mean? Be specific. Honorable Barde, be specific. Is it the governor of Kaduna State that is playing politics with security issue? Because now you're saying politicians, but you say you always talk to your governor. Is he the one playing politics with security issue?
No, I didn't say he's playing politics. As far as I'm concerned, whenever I meet him, whenever I have a demand or I have a problem in my constituency, he listens to me and he takes action. But of course, he's limited by the fact that by name, he's the chief security officer. But he doesn't command the army. He doesn't command the police. So, but amongst us, we know, why should somebody be happy that a particular people are being killed because they belong to one party or the other? My brother, we've seen it played out. We've seen it even in social media. For me, the lives of Nigeria is important, whether they are of ABGA, APC, or PDP. And once I am in government today, as a member of the House of Reps, I will speak for everybody. And I have a duty to protect everybody, because leadership is a trust from God. So if we take that into cognizance, then we have a responsibility to help to protect everybody, regardless of any affiliation, whatever, whether he's a politician or not, whether he's Muslim or Christian, whether he's Baggyman or Baju or whatever. It's a responsibility. And when I said partisanship, you've seen posting. For example, if not partisanship, why should the governor of Zamfara said, oh, I left PDP because my people were not getting what they wanted from PDP. I mean, from APC. I left PDP because my people were not getting what they should get from APC. What does that connote? It means that maybe the security he needed as a member of PDP, or whatever assistance he wanted, he was not getting it. I think Nigerians should take him up. We need to know more about what that statement he made, because I heard it. I listened to him. Is he not playing with the lives of Nigerians, playing politics with it?
Okay, very quickly.
Do we need to be in a particular party to get assistance?
Well, very quickly, before we go, we have just about a minute. You'll recall that over the weekend, the Broadcasting Commission issued a statement advising media houses to be careful how they report activities of bandits and terrorists, and not to give details. And you made a statement on that. What exactly is your concern? If you could, just draw attention to that.
Thank you very much. I, as far as I'm concerned, that directive was very, very unfortunate, and they need to be guided. They needed to be guided. How can you tell media houses or print media that, oh, don't do this, or this is what you should do? Anyway, I think we really need to find out what they really want. Because for me, the media has helped me in telling the world what is happening. Of course, that as it may, the media also could jeopardize security strategy that they have. And depending on what side you look at it, there is need, number one, for the media to prone themselves. People who practice, who are practitioners, media practitioners, should be professionals. And if you're a professional, you know that the sovereignty or the integrity of your country comes first. So if you put that side aside, you know we all need this country before we can do any reporting. But again, nobody should gag the press on reporting the true position of what is happening in the country. For me, that directive was outrageous, and I find it, they have been trying to be autocratic, and I don't think that's what we want. We have passed that level in this country. Anything that is happening, the government has a responsibility to let the people know, as long as it does not jeopardize the sovereignty or the security of people. That's very important.
Well, on that note, Honorable Yakubu Barde, would like to thank you very much for joining us this morning on The Morning Show.